So hey y'all, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talking Spit. The man to my right does not need an introduction, but I guess I'll allow him to introduce himself for all those who don't know him. If you play basketball and you don't, you've been living under a rock. But yeah, so introduce yourself to everybody on my platform. Let them know who you are and all that great stuff.
Hi, my name is God Shammgod, player development coach, assistant coach at Dallas Mavericks right now. Just happy to be on, Talking Spit, with the girl Bree, we got a long history, so
Right.
all love is good.
Absolutely. For a lot of people that don't know, Sham used to train me in the morning before he trained the guys at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And like, I was late sometimes, but I wasn't late.
Facts.
I was late a little bit of times, but I was in school at the same time. So I appreciate that as well. So always been a phenomenal individual and helped me in my game. The only reason I have can you hear me? You hear me?
Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
The only reason I actually have
I can hear you.
is because of him. So yeah, and I've developed a left hand after college, but we're not gonna talk about that. Yeah, so you're more than just a basketball icon, right? And so a lot of people know you because basketball, that's your thing. Everybody knows the Shammgod move. It's been across the world forever. But now just talk about a couple things that you got going on outside of basketball. Like for one, congratulations on getting a sneaker deal after 23 years of long coming. Yeah, talk about things that you got going on outside of basketball. What do you be doing?
I mean, I have train kids in Harlem for free. I like that. I partnered up with Share for Life Foundation to give masks and sneakers to the black and brown communities that's struggling. And I just try to do all that stuff. Just try to give back because me coming up, give back was like a big part of how I became who I became. I had a lot of coaches, different people in my life that helped me along the way. So I just wanted to make sure I did that. And, and I'm blessed to be in partnership and be a part of Rock Nation. With, Juan Perez, Jay-Z, and then, being on the coaching staff and being part of the Dallas Mavericks with Mark Cuban, who's another one of my mentors. And just being part of the Puma family, which has been awesome, to help me spread my message of giving back to the communities and just helping me, grow as a person, grow as a a coach. It's just all about growth at this point in life.
Absolutely. Yo, listen, when you say give back, it's phenomenal because he didn't charge me to train me, and I couldn't afford it anyway. I was broke college student, but I'm just saying. So that's always been a part of his character, and that's phenomenal. I knew these things, but I wanted to make sure people knew that you still are the same individual that I met when I first stepped on campus at Providence College, and I just appreciate
always
how dope you are. Of course, of course, you need to be right, so you have to be dope. If you're from the place where my parents are, if you're not dope, I don't know what happened. That you probably skipped.
Exactly. Facts.
But yeah, so what inspired you to pick up a basketball? Like, what was that thing? Like, you know what? I'm gonna play basketball. I'm a hoop. What was that?
It's kind of like Harlem kind of inspired me to play basketball because, like everybody know or whoever don't know, like I was born in Brooklyn and I lived there till I was like 7 or 8 years old, and then I moved to Harlem when I was like 7 or 8. And up until that point, I've never played basketball. I never seen a basketball game or nothing because people that know my background, my father's a 5%er, and growing up, it was all about books and reading and uh, black power and in a good fight and things like that. So it's funny because the stuff that's going on nowadays, I can relate to it so much because growing up, that was my life.
Yeah.
That was my life. My father was a part of the movement. And, so that was part of my life. Then when I moved to Harlem, for people that don't know, Brooklyn is more aggressive, more like rough and rugged. Harlem is more like flashy, stylish, and
Mm-hmm.
about making money. And so when I moved to Harlem, I went to a school called PS 92, and one of the first people I ever met when I moved to Harlem, everybody know him as Mace, but his name is Mason Betha, and he played basketball, and we sparked up a good friendship, and he took me to my first basketball game in Rucker Park.
Rocket
And
Park.
for people that don't know, Rucker Park is the famous park in Harlem where entertainment basketball started at. And so when I went up there, like I said, I've never seen basketball before. So that was like my first introduction. And when I went up there, it was like like it was so many ladies, so many kids, so many dudes with cars, jewelry, flashy dudes on the basketball court just playing kind of how you play in the NBA now. It was more
Right.
entertainment than just playing basketball. So that was like my first introduction to basketball. So of course, I'm this kid that's sitting in the tree watching the game, and I'm just like amazed by players like Future, Master Rob. A guy on the mic, he's commentating the game, the whole game.
It's crazy.
So it's so yeah. So seeing that was like 20, 30 years ahead of what's going on now in basketball, because it's the same. Like,
Yep.
you watch NBA TV, it's the same. It's like a show. So I saw that 30 years ago. So of course I couldn't do nothing but fall in love with it, because back then, you was either selling drugs, playing basketball, or, rapping came later on. So it was either selling drugs or you was playing basketball. I knew I couldn't do that because the way I was raised, and I knew I wasn't the type of person that wanted to like go to jail and do stuff like that. So basketball was the option. And then I have like a obsessed personality. So once I like something, I'm like so into it. And after that, it just came. It was like it was hard work, but it's like the hard work that I put in, it came natural. Like I picked up things so quick, and I had a lot of discipline from early years, because my father used to train boxers also.
Oh wow.
So I knew about discipline. I knew about getting up early, about working out and stuff like that. So I just became obsessed. And then, the place I moved in Harlem, it was like rich with basketball. Like Mace is one of my closest friends. Cameron is one of my closest friends. And they all play basketball. Rest in peace, Black Widow. Lived up the street from me. So we grew up in this one 3 block, 4 block radius. Like me, Loon, uh, Cameron, Jim Jones, Mace, Big L, rest in peace. And once you in that type of environment, it's so competitive. And every day we working to get better and better and better. And that was like my first time I fell in love with basketball.
Oh wow. See, look, I didn't even know. I ain't know all this. Even though
Hmm.
I know, like, my parents are from Harlem, so like I know
Hmm.
um how many people, how much greatness comes out of Harlem. I don't know about the other
Yeah,
boroughs. Oh, we talking about Harlem. Like my mom
yeah,
was across the street from Teddy Riley, so it's like they went to school.
yeah,
So like just thinking about how that night,
exactly.
I was a little mad they moved to Minnesota before they had me. I'm like, why can I not grow up in all this greatness? It's fair, in my opinion. But not if you never, y'all that's listening, never been to Rucker Park and seen a game, it is crazy. Like first time
Yeah,
I was 12, I'm like, this is insane. It was crazy. But of course,
yeah,
that's when I fell in love. I'm like, okay, this is different. Like I like
mhm.
basketball, but love came after you see it in that capacity.
Yeah. This is it. Like if you see it in that capacity, it's a totally different type of capacity. It's not about uh your name on your jersey. It's all about your game. Like, NBA players come there, rappers come there, everybody come there. And it's like when you get there, you always want to stand out. You always want to put
Yep.
on the show. So that was like my first, introduction to basketball and learning how to play, and wanting to be that guy, because Harlem is New York, period, is so competitive. So
Oh yeah.
when you do something, you want to stand out and you want to make sure you leave a lasting impression.
And you don't want to be embarrassed either. I tell you that. I see a couple people
Hmm.
embarrassed at Rucker Park. But yeah, so
Hmm.
for you, like who was that basketball player that was like, you know what, I like that guy's game or that girl's game or whoever. Who was your favorite player growing up?
My favorite player growing up was a guy named Future. People probably don't even know who that is. I mean, if they watch and one mixtapes and stuff, he's older than me, but he played in 55th, and he was the first person I saw and a guy named Master Rob, and when I saw the Future play, it was crazy because it was him and this guy named Mike Boogie, like a dribble that lived on the block I was from, and it was and it's crazy because the game I saw in 55 was an All Star game, so I saw like all the best players at one time for my first game, and I remember half court, Future like opened his legs, and Mike Boogie dribbled between his legs, like the court. It's like, and Future used to always dance, like he used to always do these dance and these fly passes. So I mean, because at that point, like I said, I'd never seen basketball, so I'd never watched. And back then, like the NBA was coming on like once a week, and I
Yeah.
was always outside, so I'd never seen like NBA. I didn't see college. So I just thought he was the greatest player in the world. Like before I saw anything else, I was like, man, this guy gotta be from the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So he was my first player I ever loved. Professionally, the player I loved was Kevin Johnson. He used to play the Phoenix Suns. He was the mayor of California. He played in the Olympics. He was a great player, phenomenal point guard, and I fell in love with him, because he wore the number 7 and he just knew how to dribble and he knew how to dunk and things like that. And then later on, when I finally knew what basketball was and I like got better at basketball, uh, I used to be obsessed with Kenny Anderson, and then that's when I went from number 7 to number 12, and number 12 was like my favorite number because Kenny Anderson was like he was
Anderson
like
came
God
right.
growing up, so like he was the best point guard in the country.
Yeah, Kenny
Yeah,
Anderson
so
crazy.
so that was like my journey.
That's
Yeah,
funny. Well, so
yeah, I
I'm
used to
assuming
go
I see this
crazy for
common
real, for real.
denominator for you is people who have handles. And it's a great segue into my next
Yeah.
question because you are the guy for handles. And my question for you, right? Like, mind you, your name is like coined a move. Like that's crazy by the way,
Mhm.
for one. But what did it take, like the level of discipline and
Yeah.
fundamentals to even get to that level? Like how often did you dribble to get from the kid that just picked up a basketball to get to where you are now that you
I
actually
mean, it's funny because like when I first started playing basketball, like the best thing I did was play defense. Like so, I got on the team because I played defense. I couldn't even dribble. I remember I used to always grab the basketball and like run, and everybody used to be like, "You got to dribble," and like the ref would call walk, and I'll be like, "What are you talking about? You just got to get to the basket." So I used to just grab the ball and run, and they used to be like, "This is not football. You got to dribble the ball," and because that's so much and teased me so much. Then I was like, all right, I just got to learn. And I used to go to the park every night. I mean, from like, I don't even know how I did it now that I'm older and I'm a parent. I don't even know how I did it. I was in a park. I used to be in a park from like 10 at night to like 2 in the morning before our house, then get ready for school the next day and then go to school early, like from 6 to 8 and dribble. And then I remember I watched an interview with Oscar Robertson, and he was like, "To be a great basketball player, or be great at anything, you got to put in at least 8 hours a day." And I literally used to always make sure I dribble like 8 hours a day, every day.
eight
And
hours.
then once that got easy, yeah. And then once that got easy, I start doing other stuff. I start like, all right, I'm gonna put ankle weights. I'm gonna put ankle weights on my wrist so I can dribble faster and and I just started making up stuff, and then to the point where, like I said, I got so obsessed with it. Like, and I used to want to dribble at night because there was this light that shone on the court, and the light on the court, any type of movement, you could see your shadow. You could see your shadow. So then, like, I got so obsessed that, like, I remember, like, one day, just out of nowhere, I'm dribbling and stuff, and I'm like, I know, like, my hand would be crazy, like, if I could shake my shadow. And I remember I used from like one whole year, one whole summer, all I was trying to do, shake my shadow. Knowing it was impossible, but I was like, yo, I
You
know
was
I could
like
do it.
determined, like I could do this.
Yeah. And then I remember like Mace and Cam and them, they used to go to parties and stuff and they used to walk past the park and I would be in there dribbling. And so, like, I used to look like how Nutso was and above the rim. Like, when they used to walk by and see somebody dribbling, like, and they used to all laugh. They used to be like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And then but by the time they came from the party, I'd still be in the park, just
Dribbling.
dribbling, doing layups, doing moves and stuff like that. So I like to say I was the first original nutso, like
Oh
that.
yeah, absolutely. Listen, you telling me you in the park
Hmm.
trying to cross your shadow? That sounds funny.
Hmm. I
I
know,
wish there was film of this.
I know, I know. Who you telling? I'm like, it's like it sounds crazy, you know. If my life didn't turn out the way it's turning out, then it probably sound even crazier. But
And low key, honestly, I think that's a level of inspiration that a lot of kids don't even hear. Like you
yeah,
like you was so dedicated to
exactly.
the game that you was like, you know what, I want to beat myself, and that's what
Yeah,
it is. Like, it's not about beating anybody else. You're not talking about playing against nobody. It was just you, yourself, and your shadow, which is still funny.
yeah. Because what people don't understand is what people don't understand is, you know, the biggest project you will ever have in life is yourself. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't know that. So it's like when you put pressure and worry about stuff that's out of your control, like no matter what happens in life, like your biggest project will be you.
Absolutely,
Developing you, fixing you, trying to make you better, trying to, not be a nobody or struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's an everyday fight and it's an everyday project, whether you look at it or not. But your biggest challenge is you, no matter what.
absolutely. That was a gem that you just dropped. So now transitioning from you being nutso in the park
Hmm.
and you getting recruited. What was that like for you? And like, why did you choose PC? Like, why was Providence the place that all right, I'm gonna go to Providence College and play ball?
It was good for me because, like I said, even though like I was getting good in basketball, I still was always in the street playing basketball. So I wasn't really playing organized. So I remember in the eighth grade, I had met Tiny Archibald, and I didn't even know who Tiny Archibald was. And he was trying to tell me something, and I was like, "Man, who the hell is this old guy think you talking to, or whatever, whatever." And then I used to watch this tape called Below the Rim, and it had all these point guards. Then in the middle of the tape, it would show like back in the days, and it was like greatest point guards ever, and it was him. But I didn't. I still, like I said, I still went to school. I'm like, it's no way this is him. I'm like,
Right.
because at that point when you're young, you're like, oh, he in the NBA, he got money. There's no way he gonna be my PE teacher. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm thinking. So I'm like, nah. But then when I got enough courage to ask him and talk to him, and he was just always tell me, he used to be like, yeah, he used to be like, if you learn how to master dribbling, you will always be worth something to a team. And I was like, oh, okay. And I took it literally. So I even started working harder. But then when I left there, I went to in the middle of that summer, I went to LaSalle Academy to visit, and they was having a scrimmage. The JV is having a scrimmage against St. Anthony's JV team. That's the legendary coach Bob Hurley, and they didn't have enough people. And they was like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah." Mind you, I didn't go to the school or nothing, so I was like, "Yeah." So I remember I played, and this is like me, like first time really playing organized. So I played, and I had like 40 points, 44. It was 44 points to be exact. I'll never forget that. And Bob Hurley, at that point, I didn't know who he was. He came to me. He was like, "What grade are you in?" He was like, "Man, you nice. What grade are you in?" And this is like the first time like a white person like recognized me for basketball. Yeah, so he was like, "You're nice," and I was like, he was like, "What grade you in?" And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, I'm in the eighth grade, about to go to ninth." And he was like, "What?" Like because I just played against tenth
Yeah,
graders. So then I go to LaSalle and I wasn't even ranked. Like I was ranked like 120 in the city because, like I said, at that point they didn't know me.
yeah,
So only thing I ever heard about, and that's because like I said, Kenny Anderson was like my idol.
yeah.
So the only thing I heard about was like Kenny Anderson making a McDonald's All American game. So I figured that was like big. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, Kenny Anderson. So I remember my coach asking me my freshman year, he was like, what do you want to accomplish in high school and all this? And I was like, I didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. But I was like, yeah, I just want to be McDonald's All American. Like, and he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I want to be McDonald's All American by the time my years is over. So I bust my ass. So I went from 121 in New York, and then my senior year I was number 12 in the country. So just working hard. But in the middle of my junior year, I was almost late for well, I was late for school, and I'm coming in the train, and the train was there. So I'm trying to get my money to get a token. For people that don't know, a token is the thing you put in the slots. You know, I know we don't have that stuff now or whatever. So I tried to the train was there, and before I get my money, I was just like, "Oh, the train gonna leave." So I remember I jumped the train style. As I jumped the train style, the police was there. So as the police was there, it was a coach. It was a coach at Towntown High School named Bobby Gonzalez. He was there, so he saw me get arrested. So I got arrested, and he got off the next stop and came back. And then he came back and he was like, "Hey, you know, I'm a coach. This is you know, I know him. He's a good kid. This and that." So they took me out the cell. You know, they had like these little cells in the train station. So they took me out the cell, and they let me go to school. So, and this is like I saw him around, but I never really knew him. So we was just talking. I was like, "Man, thank you, man. You know, like, man, like, you know, because I definitely want my parents to know." So I was like, "Thanks." He was like, "Not to worry about it, this and that." So we became friends. So my junior year, of course, I want to go to Georgia Tech or Syracuse because Kenny Anderson went to Georgia Tech, and Pearl, rest in peace, Pearl Washington went to Syracuse, and both from New York. They both the number one point guards in the country. So at that point, but it's the same school Steph had. Me and Steph had the same school because we played together.
Yeah.
AAU, Stephon Marbury, for people that don't know. So we played together. So we had the same exact schools, you know, because of course we both point guards, we both. But Georgia Tech was on Steph and Syracuse, but they was like, "Yo, we'll take you too," and I was like, "I don't know about that."
Right.
So anyway, Rick Barnes has just left Providence. Pete Gillen got the job at Providence. His assistant coach was Bobby Gonzalez. So of course, Bobby Gonzalez was like, "Yo, I'm telling you, like we could get Shammgod or whatever, whatever." So it was the end of my junior year. They offered me a scholarship, and I was like, "Okay, I don't really know yet." I was like, "But I'm gonna come for Midnight Madness," and I came. I came unofficial visit. I loved it, and then I came the next year on unofficial visit, and I loved it again. And I was like, all right, but I was like, I like it. I was like, but I still want to take my visits to the other schools.
Yeah.
So you know, so I took my visits, and I liked it. And then I was talking to Bobby Crimmins, and I was talking to Jim Boeheim, and I was like, well, I had told Syracuse because I knew I was like, Steph is going to go to Georgia Tech. So I was like, I told Syracuse, I was like, yo, if y'all want me, I was like, you know, I'm ready to sign. And I was like, but if I sign, y'all can't recruit nobody else.
Right.
And then they was like, well, yeah, we want you bad, but you know, we still want to recruit Steph. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right. So the next day I signed with Providence. So then the next day, Steph announced he went to Georgia Tech. So then Syracuse was like, they was hot because because they knew. And then like my first college game, we played Syracuse on TV, and I had like 20 points and like 12 assists. And they was like, yo, you know, we should. And I was like, yeah, I know I wanted to come here. Yeah, I wanted to come there bad, but you know, I understood what they was doing. Steph was the number one, not even number one point guard. He's number one player in the country, so I get it. But I was just like, yo, you know, I'm trying to tell y'all, like, yo, let's get it rocking. So you know, it was good though. And then that got me to Providence.
PC, go Friars. Listen, okay. People ain't know what the heck a Friar was when I told them I was going to Providence. It's like Providence. Where I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah, no.
Nobody know, right? Out east, know. Minnesota's like Providence. I'm like, it's in the Big East. It's okay. I know the Big East, so that's dope. Yo, that's crazy. So you could have went to see.
Yeah.
Like
I could have went to it was Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Maryland, Virginia, James Madison. Those are the choices. Those are schools I visit. Those are schools that was like, you know, loving me. So I was like, you know.
James Madison. So James Madison was one of my 5. I love James.
Yeah, I love James Madison.
James Madison.
The craziest thing about James Madison If it wasn't for my coach in high school, I would have signed with James Madison.
Really?
Yeah, because I told them. Because I went there, they had this big pep rally for me, and this is the first time I ever been to a school with like mostly all blacks. So I was like, yo, and they had all these people out here, and they were screaming my name, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then it's like, they got a bunch of frats, and
Yeah.
they took me to all these frat parties, and at this point, coming from New York, you really don't know about frats. So I've never been around frats. I've never
Right.
been around like frat parties, deltas and all that stuff. So I went and I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like this is definitely like this is
This
it
is
right
it.
here.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. So
That was
I
my
called
same
my
experience. This is it.
I called my coach and I was like, I'm signing. And he was like, you better not sign no papers. He was like, wait till you get back. So then I told the coaches, I was like, yeah, I'm going back. I was like, send the letter because I'm signing. So they sent the letter the next day, and I told him, I was like, yo, I want to go here. And he was like, you're not going there. This, and that. And then Lefty Drizel was a coach. He had just had some problems, like at Maryland,
Yeah.
bias, different people. But I was like, I love him because he was like, yo, I'm gonna let you. I was like, yo, I'm going there. I was like, I'm going. That's it. No, no, no. And then we went back and forth for like a week, and then that was short lived. But the campus and everything, I love James Madison.
James Madison is beautiful.
Yeah, it was lit too. It was James Madison was like that. I ain't even
Oh
gonna
yeah,
lie.
it was. I'm not gonna. I'm actually kind of happy I ain't go there. Probably wouldn't got no work done.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because it was,
It
it
was
was, it
definitely
was.
that.
Mhm.
So you had great success at PC. Playing
Yeah,
Elite Eight. Y'all should have beat. Y'all should have beat them. By the way, even though they
yeah,
won
we should have won that.
overtime,
Yeah,
that was crazy.
yeah,
I
we
watched,
should have won
I
that one.
watched the highlights of that a lot because it used to be in a walkway, the little hallway. We used to,
Yeah,
we used to
hmm
see the highlights all the time.
yeah.
But what was it like when you transitioned to being a professional athlete and you're making money for doing something that you started as a kid? What was that like?
I mean, it's definitely a dream come true, But it was it was bittersweet for me because it was like because I had family stuff. I had different stuff. It was different reasons why I left to go to the NBA right away. So it was like different reasons. So it wasn't like 100% like I wanted to go, but it was like I had to go. And it was bittersweet because I'm 19 years old. I'm in the NBA. I'm making money. I'm living by myself for the first time. And and this is when the NBA was with older people. See, now it'd have been easy for me because now everybody's young. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like when I went to NBA, like I couldn't go out with guys, I couldn't even get in the bars and stuff. So I did miss my brothers at PC because the people that went to PC, they was family for real because they came from New York with me. So
right.
I knew them way before PC. So I used to call up to PC every day, like, what y'all doing? And they're like, nah, going to class, what you doing? I'm like, man, just chilling. I'm about to go to the mall, just shop. I don't know, like just waste time. At that point. So, but it was good because it was a dream come true. It was a true testament to hard work and being around the great players and even having the great players recognize you. You know what I'm saying? Because like when I got in the NBA, everybody knew me, and that was like the most surprising part and the most craziest part for me. Because like I remember we played the Lakers, and I wasn't even playing. I remember we played the Lakers, and I was sitting on the bench, and Shaq walked past the bench and was like, "Oh, why Shammgod ain't playing? Y'all tripping? Y'all tripping? Y'all need
What?
to let him play." And I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, this is nuts right now. Like this is crazy." You know what I'm saying? And then I remember, because when you're a rookie, you got to come early to work out. And I remember we played Chicago, and I came to work out. And when I got on the court, Michael Jordan was working out, and then he walked up and he was like, "Man, why you let that little dude shoot the ball? Man, I lost money on y'all." Talking about, man, I was like, "Yo, I was like, yo, this is crazy." Michael Jordan, like this is
Michael
nuts.
Jordan
So
was like,
it
Michael
was it
Jordan
was
know who I am?
it was good. It was good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like it was crazy. So it was like so it was kind of like once I got good in basketball, I kind of grew up. That's all I knew. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. That's all I knew was basketball. the
right.
players, and just getting love from people from all over. You know.
You get love from everybody. Like it's actually crazy. And like I was going through your Instagram, and you had a picture with one of my favorite athletes, R.I.P. to the great late Kobe Bryant.
Oh yeah, that's my guy. God
That
bless him
that
for that.
that's
Yeah.
my man. Like, and I said,
Mm,
"Wow, that's crazy." And just to think that
yeah.
y'all had like a standing relationship, and so like for me,
Yeah.
like knowing people like him, like what is that like to be in the same company with people like Kobe, people like Jay-Z? Like, what does that make? How does that make you feel about yourself, or a testament to all the work that you put in to get to where you are now?
Yeah. I mean, it's a greater testament, and it's a testament to God, because like in my life, I didn't even know these people was going to be who they were going to be. Just like He put me in people's lives, and they didn't know I was going to be who I was going to be. So He's always blessed me to have good people in my life, and like even meeting Kobe. And it's funny because like me and Kobe's like a year apart, so it's like me meeting him when he first came to the United States, and me and him building a relationship because his father wanted me to teach him how to dribble, and to like all the stuff he'd been through, rest in peace, in his life, I've been through in my life, for us to have still had a great relationship before his untimely demise, to the point, he calling me to work his daughter out, 20 years later, the same way I worked him out. That's just an amazing feeling. And, I'm just blessed and happy just to be a part of that, and just get a glimpse of that, especially on what occurs after that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy to be a part of that, and happy to be looked at as a friend. You know
I,
what I'm saying? And then, same thing, like even like the same thing with Jay-Z, growing up in my neighborhood, seeing Jay-Z, around the way, or seeing his growth and seeing who he's become. But it's funny because without the money, he's the same person I know from back then. You know what I'm saying? Same mentality, same everything. So it's a testament to his hard work and who he is, and what he's doing for the culture and what he's doing for us, and just giving us inspiration. And every day I try to do the same thing in my part, by doing my part, just trying to give inspiration and help the next generation of people that come behind me. Whether it's advice, whether it's training, or whether making sure every time they see me, I'm in the position of you know that with the position that God put me in, and when they see me, they see all the love and all the stuff that God put into me. You know what I'm saying, and not the flesh.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, like, it's so dope that, cause it's crazy when I was telling people that I got you to like come on my platform. I'm like, how? Like, y'all don't understand him as a person. Like, y'all know him as the name, but like, he's a dope individual. Like, super chill, super humble. Like, y'all, it's really funny when people are having this conversation. Like, wait, how do you know? I'm like, look, it's just funny to me. And so, like, the humility that
Hmm.
you have is just testament to why God has placed you in the position that you're in because of who you are as an individual, which is
I
phenomenal,
appreciate it.
by the way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so now you a NBA coach, you out here helping
Yeah.
people with their handles because some of the kids can dribble the ball, some can't, but these athletes
Hmm.
are different. So when I'm thinking
Yeah.
about now, right? What do you think is the biggest difference between the athletes you're training now as professional athletes and then the athletes you have to play against? They always talk about like this era couldn't play with this era. Like,
Yeah.
what do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think? You see it hands on. How do you
No,
feel?
I think like I'm not one of those people that say old school, new school. No, I think if you're a great player in any era, you would be a great player in any era, because the only difference between the eras is the technology, the equipment, and things like that. So if it's just like when you say, well, this person didn't shoot threes or this person didn't do that. Well, if you was allowed to shoot 11 3-pointers back in the days, then don't you think Michael Jordan would have mastered shooting 3-pointers? You know what I'm saying? Or this person would have mastered that. So it's like me growing up. Like, I remember when I was in high school, and it was like in high school I just wanted to dribble and shoot threes. That's it. Oh, my 37, like 12 assists. So, and I used to always, because Stephon Marbury is the first person I ever seen shoot like half court shots in
Yeah.
the game, just a regular game, you know. And everybody's like, "Oh, what the hell is he doing? Like, you messing up the game, like, you know what I'm saying, stuff
Right.
like that." So I remember my senior year, I'm shooting from like way out, and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't play like that." To even to the point where I got to PC, and PC was like, "Oh, you know, don't shoot so many threes, shoot pull-ups and stuff like that." Whereas now, pull-ups, they don't want you to shoot pull-ups.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like so that's me thinking 20 years ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm from New York. So when you're from New York, if you're on the court, you gotta learn how to dribble, rebound, pass, post up. You do everything.
Hmm.
So when you from New York, it's like, or when you play in high school, it's really like positionless basketball.
Absolutely.
So then when you get to college, you know, probably not as much now, but then when you get to college, or even when I was there with you when you was playing, now they put you in positions. They
Yep.
say, "Oh, this person is the point guard, so this person dribbles. This person is a shooter, so this person shoots."
Yeah.
But now when you look at the NBA, now it's positionless basketball.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always say, yeah, I was born way too early because I'm like, when I was coming up and coming from New York, that's all we had was point guard. So the point guard was always the best player.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I got to college or the NBA where it's like, oh, the center,
Hmm.
like Shaq, Patrick. It was like, oh, the center's the best player. When me coming from New York, the center was like, yo, just rebound, give it to the guard, and
Right.
he
That's
get the
it.
ball back when he get dunks and stuff like that. Yeah. So you got it. So that's where the NBA is at now. So when people always be like, man, you get mad love, and I'll be like, mostly because the way that people play now, that's how I played then.
Yeah.
So that's why they can be so good. Or when I talk to them, or when I'm trying to teach them something, it's not like, oh, this always trying to teach me this or that. It's like, oh, that's Shammgod. He's showing me this or that because they can relate. And then when they see stuff on YouTube and they be like, man, that's how dudes play now.
It
You know
is.
what I'm
It's
saying? So it's
exactly like
like,
your game was before its time.
yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things. Like I like to say, like, because I always say, I'll be like, it's one of those things where like I'm in a place where kind of like who I like to say, like Fabulous as a rapper or King. I'm kind of old but young
Yeah.
to the kids today. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, oh, because like most of the kids like I train and stuff. I'm probably a year younger or the same age as they pops.
Yeah.
But most of the kids that see me that I train, they're like, "Oh, that's big bro," or you know what I'm saying. So they look at me as, it's like Fab. Like you look at Fab, you're like, man, he's an OG, but to the kids,
So
they're like, yo, they can still relate to him. They're like,
yeah,
yo, he look like one of us. He can hang with us. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So so I've been blessed to be in that box, and by being in that box, it helps me to, like, I like to say, it helps me reach the unreachable. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And I agree. I really was interested on your perspective on that. And so before we wrap up, this is my last question. You're training a lot of kids now, and I think a lot of the times that me being a high school basketball coach, I don't think kids understand the amount of work it goes into being where you are now. So what would be some
Mhm.
advice that you would give to athletes who aspire to play at a high level when it comes to basketball or any sport?
Yeah, I was just telling them they gotta love it. You know what I'm saying? Most of the kids now they like it. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by like it, you can't you can't like it to the point only because of what it does for you. You know what I'm saying? And with me, I loved basketball. I love basketball. You know what I'm saying? And when you love something, then that thing becomes first in your life at that point. You know what I'm saying? And I think what happens in this era, they like it, but they don't love it because it's like, if you make a list, right? So like me growing up, like you have a list, like, yeah, your schoolwork is this and that, but it was always for me, it was like playing basketball. Everything else went under it. You know what I'm saying? It was like at that point, you have a girlfriend. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna be at the gym. So if you're trying to spend time, you come to the gym, then we can hang out. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? It
right,
wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out and then come back to the gym. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So like now, because of the way society is now, it's even worse now because you have like You have most of the people. You have video games. You
Multi-sport
have
athletes.
yeah. You have social media. You have this. You have that, and then it's like, oh, I gotta get my work in. You know what I'm saying? So like I just told you, like I used to be at the gym 8 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? So now somebody practice 1 hour a day. I work somebody out 1 hour a day, and they'd be good for the whole day. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't never me. It was like I'll work out, then I'll go play. I'll do this, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about, like I just told you, it wasn't about like, oh, I need to see what party I'm going to. Is it like I used to tell people, like it's so funny. I'm like, until I signed with Puma, so I've been with Puma 4 years. No, yeah, 4 years now, going on 4 years. I'm like, up until that point, I've never went to All Star Weekend. Like I go to All Star Weekend because I do stuff for Puma now. But I'm like, I have never been that person that's like, I want to be amongst the crowd and do
Yeah.
this and do that. It was always about me. It was always about like, I got to get right. I got to do this. And then even now, most of the kids, like I said, I'm blessed to be in a certain situation
Yeah.
because of the whole Shammgod thing and all that. But like most kids don't listen. You know what I'm saying? Most kids are lawyers. Like you say, do this, they tell you why they can't do this or why I got to do this. And it's like, I've been blessed to where I'm like the lawyer. I need a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you debating the case. Like if I say do something, evidently I'm
Let's
telling
do
you for a
it.
reason to help you. You know what I'm saying? So, when you go through that type of stuff, it's nothing like hard work. Like even if you listen to their favorite rappers, like you can listen to Lil Wayne. There's times he in the studio for days. You know what I'm saying?
Day.
Because that's what he loved. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just got to find that thing you love, whether it's basketball, whether it's anything. Because if you love it, then it become easy. It's never looked at as
A
work.
part of
It's
you.
looked like
Not work. It's a
part of
part
you. Yeah, yeah. And most of the people are, and most of the kids now, they got so much pressure too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they got their uncles, their aunts, their cousins, everybody
wow.
at the game,
Everybody
everybody telling them,
everybody wants them to make it,
yeah,
their family to make it.
yeah. And it's like, no, you got to have fun with it. You got to enjoy it. And like I said, man, it's bigger than yourself. It got to be something that's bigger than yourself. And
Absolutely.
and for me, basketball always been bigger than me. And I always said I would never let my talent outshine my truth. So that's just who I am about it.
Listen, you dropped some gems today. I'm not. I do not want to offend all the people that I've interviewed before you, but this was probably my favorite interview I've ever
Thank you.
done because not only did it like allow me to learn stuff, but I know that this is
Mhm,
going to be something that's going to help the kids that's coming behind us because they don't listen. That is one thing I will tell
mhm.
you. But yeah, no, thank you so much, y'all. Y'all can find him on all his social media platforms. If y'all can't,
Yeah.
y'all got a Google search engine. Good luck with the rest of your season. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. If you have any old film, I can find some, but I'm gonna put some in the before clip and then after. And
Okay.
nah, thank you so much for doing this. And
No,
y'all,
I got you.
this was dope. But peace, love, happiness, and success.
Yes.
I will talk to y'all later.
Got you.
So much, Sham.